Every week, we see the latest worst of AI, which is nothing less than magic. And if you're still relying on traditional ways to get ahead in life, then you are surely missing out. I recently hosted a massive AI and UX meetup at Gurugram. So many students and young professionals flew all the way from Ahmedabad, Kolkata, Kanpur, Chandigarh, and so many more places. And this is what they had to say.
I have been completely amazed by him and so inspired by him. The meetup was pretty amazing.
I came from Mumbai to visit this.
Workshop was very crisp and to the point, and there was a lot of learning that I can take away.
I was one of the people who hated using AI, but now I think I'm going to be the convertible one. Big thumbs up. It was great for me.
But because a lot of you missed it, I have decided to upload the most important bits of my workshop so you can also upskill yourself and be in the top tier. So without wasting any further time, let's get started.
So folks, I wouldn't waste too much time. Let's get right into it. Before any of this kahani started, you would be knowing कि मैं खुद बहुत sessions कर रहा था. मैं खुद लोगों को बहुत educate कर रहा था. There were two kinds of creators in the market. एक जो थोड़ा सा डरा रहे थे, दूसरा जो थोड़ा inspire कर रहे थे. But मोटा this was the narrative that AI can officially take over the world. And of course, जब भी आपको कोई डराता है, it is followed by a pitch that buy my course, otherwise you'll be out of a job. But to be honest, AI आए ना आए, we ended up making a lot of students anxious. Because जो young professionals थे, they were pretty busy in their own lives. तो उन्होंने ज़्यादा ध्यान नहीं दिया कि AI में ChatGPT आ रहा है या Midjourney आ रहा है. But students को बहुत डर लगने लग गया. Because they were like, हम तो college में हैं. If we don't act smartly, or if we don't take the right decisions, then how will we get the ROI of all the time and money that we've spent? So folks, we did a quick survey. I wanted to understand कि आज जितने भी लोग हमारी audience में आ रहे हैं, उनकी expectations क्या है? And what do they know? And what are they looking forward to? And these were some very interesting results. सबसे पहले, most people said that I'm pretty average at ChatGPT. And a good amount of people said that I'm pretty good. But even some people, जो कि this is a pretty young demographic, 12 people still said I barely use it. Then I asked another question, which was around Midjourney. Midjourney के case में, most people said we barely use it. Which shows कि ChatGPT तो popular हो गया, but बेचारा Midjourney थोड़ा पीछे रह गया. But on the other hand, I saw some people, there's one response that said, I'm a pro at Midjourney. Some people said I'm pretty good at Midjourney. In fact, I also asked कि what would you expect from this meetup? कि आपको actually में सीखना क्या है? Because this is where our own insights came into the picture. So we got a bunch of responses, right? And they were ranging from upscaling, networking, video editing. Most of you are from the design background. But फिर मुझे realize हुआ कि यार, we have limited time and it would be stupid to cover things that are already been answered on the internet. तो सबसे पहले हमने eliminate करी वो problems जो AI actually में solve नहीं कर सकता. And there are quite few. Because people assume कि AI is super smart. अब मुझे life में कोई भी problem होगा, I can probably use AI to fix it. तो सबसे पहले हमने वो options eliminate करी. फिर हमने वो चीज़ें eliminate करी जो already हमने अपनी previous videos में solve करी भी है. और अगर मैंने ना solve करी, at least other creators have solved it. So in the end, we shortlisted these. These topics have never been covered in practical detail. Even I haven't shared. And recently I uploaded my entire IIM session and we made sure that we do not repeat anything of it today. So all the content that you see today, it is absolutely updated and custom built from the responses that you all shared with us. So I saw this very interesting quote and it said that every week we see the latest worst of AI. Which basically means that every single week the AI is becoming better and better, and what we see today is technically the worst it can ever be. Which is very fascinating because even when I see the possibilities, I'm just blown away. But there's a difference between being powerful and useful. So the thing is, when you go on Instagram, when you go on LinkedIn, you see a bunch of articles that say कि AI ये कर रहा है, वो कर रहा है, इतना powerful हो गया, ये हो गया. But for a normal student, the kid is like, how does this help me? AI can be extremely powerful, but how is this useful to me? So there's a big gap into the market where people are extremely aware of what AI can do, but not aware of what it can do for them. So every week, AI tools are getting easier and better, but unfortunately, people can't imagine the benefits and the use cases of those powerful features. And that is the gap that I want to fill today. This is a random graph that I made on my iPad, but it has a lot of meaning. So at the bottom you have time, and on the vertical axis you have the usefulness. तो जब AI market में आया था ना, सबको लगा कि this is crazy. ChatGPT is writing letters, Midjourney is creating images. This is so useful, and this is the expectation that we had. कि जैसे जैसे टाइम बढ़ेगा ये इतने ही फास्ट पेस पे ग्रो होगा, इतने ही फास्ट पेस पे यूजफुल होगा. बट रियलिटी कुछ ऐसी है कि बिगिनिंग में इट हैड अ ह्यूज एक्सपोनेंशियल बूस्ट. थिंग्स बिकेम सुपर सुपर कूल, हमारे को काफी चीजें यूजफुल लगी, बट एट दिस पॉइंट यू सीइंग सम सॉर्ट ऑफ सैचुरेशन. इट इज नॉट ग्रोइंग एज गुड as it was from November to April. And I have been using these tools. I'm telling you कि जो beginning में growth हुआ था, जो beginning में exponential usefulness आ रही थी, वो अब नहीं आ रही. Powerful for sure. Better graphics, better rendering engines, all the technical stuff that is growing. But for a normal student, the amount of usefulness is decreasing with time. Before you move ahead, I want to tell you about our latest learning website, howtoprompt.in, where you can get free AI resources, roadmaps, and step-by-step guides that will teach you everything that you need to know about tools like ChatGPT and Midjourney. I saw a very interesting article that said that a lot of people are now getting over the AI hype. क्योंकि कोई भी मार्केट में नई चीज आती है, a lot of people get excited about it, but as of now the demand for ChatGPT and other AI tools is actually decreasing because people used it for a while, they weren't good prompt engineers, so they realized कि let's just live life without it. So it's very interesting to see कि जिस तरीके से लोगों ने इसको pretend किया था कि सारा काम outsource हो जाएगा, जो prompt engineering नहीं करेगा वो jobless हो जाएगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ. In reality things were pretty smooth. In fact, I saw this one post saying that AI prompt engineers are making 300k. Right now, of course, जब आप ऐसा कोई आर्टिकल पढ़ते हो तो आपको फोमा आता है कि यार हमारे को तो इतनी सैलरी मिल नहीं रही, तो हम भी prompt engineering सीख लेते हैं. But in the real world, question number 1, is this available in your country? Question number 2, कौन सी कंपनी ये ले रही है? Are you aware of that company and are you eligible to apply for it? And तीसरा, when you go for a 300k का job, is prompt engineering the only thing in the JD? Because उन्होंने JD नहीं share किया है. They've only shared a headline, a clickbaity headline that says that you can make this much amount of money if you are a good prompt engineer. But the reality is way more nuanced. There's a lot more that you need to learn to get to this point. In fact, Netflix had this job opening. I'm pretty sure आप सबने इसके बारे में देखा ही होगा. They also launched this Black Mirror का episode where they showed that in the TV show they're using AI avatar, something around those lines. It was pretty interesting. तो Netflix ने practically बोला कि यार we will give a whooping salary of around 7.4 crores for a person who understands AI and media, which makes sense. But my question is, how many job openings exist like these? Is it really the time when people say कि वो अपना काम हम छोड़ देते हैं, let's just double down on AI. We don't need to learn our subjects, we don't need to finish our degrees, let's just become a prompt engineer. I also asked, what all should we not do at this meetup? And for some reason, 2 people in this group replied, fighting. And I was like, why would I fight at my meetup? कौन है यहाँ पर? Can you raise your hand? Why did you say fighting? कोई लड़ते हैं आपके पुराने meetup पे लोग? And there's one more. There were 2-3 people. I think वो हाथ नहीं रेस करेगा. But एक और person ने आंसर किया कि please don't sell me another course. And I could relate to him. Because मुझे समझ आ रहा था कि what is he trying to say. But folks, एक बहुत important question जो मुझे बार DMs में आता है कि अंश क्या अब हमारे को कोई certification या कोई degree या कोई program करना चाहिए so that we can get a good job. And this is post their normal degree. So first of all, I never recommend folks to skip college. So because college is just about discipline and routine. More than about information, it teaches you how to live life away from your parents, which is very important for your growth. But if you've already done a basic degree, you don't have to chase a certification for something like AI or ChatGPT or Midjourney. But then the second question comes कि यार इतने courses आ रहे हैं, are you saying that you should never buy courses? And I get a lot of criticism for this because on some videos I say that you don't need courses to buy the basics. But on the other hand, I do sell my own webinars. So what is the right way? So there's a subtle thing that people miss. There's a reason why I don't sell video courses, and it's not because I'm a saint. It's because if you are buying a pre-recorded course of an AI tool, it's mostly outdated. Because the syllabus is changing every 10 days. It is that fast. ChatGPT and Midjourney are evolving so fast that if you're buying something which is not live, you've essentially done the wrong purchase. And the entire syllabus is evolving at a level where I'm pretty sure that in the next 1 year, even ChatGPT is going to be replaced by its alternative. So the question is, when do you invest in a course or degree? And this is not just for AI, even if you're in the field of design, because I know a lot of you are in the UX design community, you need to understand, when do you pay money for something? See, there are 3 things that you need to ask. One is, do I have enough time to learn on my own, or do I have limited time? There are some people who need to get a job ASAP. In that case, you can still consider. Question number 2, when you want to learn something advanced, if you're paying for basics, you're losing out. Anytime you want to learn the basics, always rely on documentation and not on paid courses. And at the very end, you're not in debt, because I see a lot of people who take loans to get these degrees, who take loans to fund these courses. Folks, please don't do this. And I just want to cover this before we get into the session, because this is a very common question that I had in the what do I cover in my meetup. So I'm not against investing in paid education, but just be mindful when you buy these things. So let's skip to all the fluff. The entire AI segment is going to have 2 sessions. We'll have a 30-minute break. And once the AI sessions are over, then we'll have the high tea and networking where all of us can have a chit chat. So agenda for segment number 1. We'll first do a quick revision of what ChatGPT is and what are some very important features that you need to know about so that everybody is on the same page. यहाँ पे ऐसे बहुत से लोग हैं जिन्होंने अभी तक code interpreter, custom instructions ये सब use नहीं करा है. Let's just make sure everybody is on the same page. In part 2, we'll do some pro use cases of ChatGPT where you actually get into the prompt engineering part as to how do you think about engineering the right questions inside ChatGPT. At the very end, I will tell you how do you plan your next move. It doesn't matter if you're a designer, non-designer, engineer. Now that you know कि AI में ये सब हो रहा है, how do you plan to make sure that you get paid well in the next 12 to 18 months? So let's start with module number 1, a quick revision of ChatGPT features because it's important to get everybody on the same page. So folks, जब भी मैं ChatGPT की बात करता हूँ, लोगों को लगता है कि it's just you outsourcing all your work. Whereas in reality, this is how the flow works. सबसे पहले the human thinks about the problem. Then human will give the prompt and context inside ChatGPT. फिर ChatGPT आपको एक reply देगा. Human जब उस reply को पढ़ेगा उसको realize होगा कि this is not as useful as I assumed, and then human will be building on top of it. So case number ये था कि मैंने सब कुछ ChatGPT से कराया, which is false. In reality, you give context to ChatGPT, it replies back to you, you realize that it's not good enough, and you build on top of it. Does this make sense? So जो पूरा का पूरा chain है, it starts with a human, it ends with a human. Now ChatGPT या Midjourney जितने भी tools हैं, they might get outdated, but the subject of prompt engineering is here to stay. Because जो first principles है ना of asking the right question, they will remain the same, right? आप Google Bard से पूछो या ChatGPT से पूछो, it doesn't matter. Now अब आगे जाके मैं आपको जितने भी examples दिखाऊंगा, they are from the ChatGPT Plus plan. By default आप free में use करते हो, उसकी कुछ limitations हैं, but the pro plan costs around $1,800. Are you guys want to say something? Oh, okay, because you're looking at me in a very curious way. Okay, work. Cool. So folks, he'll be flying a drone here. We want to make some cool videos, so don't get distracted by it. This is a test of your focus. So don't get distracted by the drone. So yes, let's start with use case number 1. I told you that you should never outsource to AI, but there's one very useful feature of AI which is around upskilling. बहुत टाइम तक लोगों को ये अंदर ये डाउट होता था कि यार मुझे कोई स्किल सीखनी है, but I don't know how to go about it. I don't know where to learn it from. Upskilling is one practical use case that can really help you make the most of ChatGPT. So I'll give you a quick prompt ka example. Act as a highly experienced B2B marketer. So this is one use case जहाँ पे I'm a student of marketing. So I just want ChatGPT to mentor me throughout the process. I will say act as a highly experienced B2B marketer who specializes in bootstrapped edtech apps and startups based out of India. Note 3 very important things in this user persona. सबसे पहले the right designation. Second, the exact niche, which is edtech bootstrap startups, and then based out of India. If you don't specify कि आप इंडिया में बैठे हो, it will not know what country you're from. Then you need to become my coach and guide me throughout my college life. Every day, once I come and say doubt class, you need to ask me what I'm working on. Make sense? You can revisit this conversation again and again. Once I answer, you need to ask me relevant questions that give you more clarity. Keep asking me till you have enough context. अब देखो मैंने यहाँ क्या किया. सबसे पहले मैंने उसको rules सिखाए कि मैं जब भी तेरे पास आऊंगा, if I say doubt class, पुरानी बातें भूल जाना, it's a new doubt session, so that you can break that context. दूसरी चीज, I actually explicitly declare the fact that if you have any doubts, You can ask me relevant questions. Otherwise, you will give the prompt once and ChatGPT will feel कि इसने जितना context दिया है, this is the limit. And I have to give an answer from the limited context that this person has shared with me. But if you give freedom to ChatGPT to say कि अगर तुझे कोई doubt है, you can always ask me again, it will ask you more relevant questions. Then keep asking me till you have enough context. There's second part of the same prompt that once I answer all questions, you need to give me 3 things: feedback, next steps, and one free resource that I can refer to for learning. Make sense? Because it's not just about Gyan, you also need some CTA, right? You need a resource that you can explore once you've got the answer. Then you add the constraint, which is कि मेरे पास सिर्फ 30 minutes है per day for my upskilling. If you don't add this, then it will give you syllabus जो आपका complete ही नहीं होगा in your limited time. At the very end, by the end of the next 6 months, I should become very strong at marketing, at tech products. Keep your answers concise, easy to read, and to the point. Understood? Makes sense. So ChatGPT ने बोला समझ आ गया. Now, if I say the word doubt class, तो मुझसे पूछेगा what are you currently working on? And at this point, I can reply that I'm figuring out why most edtech platforms struggle to scale from their niche to more students. Plus, why don't they focus on offline classes? I've picked a very random question and you can pick any subject, any domain. But अब देखो next step में क्या होगा. मैंने उसको अपना question बताया and then it asked me counter questions. Now it's having a conversation with me. और जो चीजें मैंने शायद अपने prompt में originally define नहीं करी थी, this time it is helping me fill in gaps in my own thought. तो जब मैं इन सारे answers को दूंगा, it will keep giving refined answers again and again. Now the question is that why did this prompt work so well? And if you've been following me for a while, you would know that all of us follow a 4-part checklist. Any prompt that you put inside ChatGPT, you can always use this checklist to get 10 times better output. But this will only work in the pro plan. In the free plan, you might not feel कि इतना फर्क आ रहा है. Of course, ये 4-part checklist में हम deep नहीं जाएंगे because we've already covered this end to end. Second concept के ऊपर आते हैं, which is called ChatGPT agent. तो अभी 5 मिनट पहले मैंने आपको बताया था ना कि आप अपनी चैट्स को वापस revisit कर सकते हो. अभी क्या हो रहा है, जब भी कोई ChatGPT यूज करता है, they always end up creating a new chat. उनको कोई भी क्वेश्चन पूछना है, they click on new chat and they start from zero. तो इशू क्या है कि when you start a new chat, you essentially create a new AI. It's almost like giving birth to a baby from scratch. But if you revisit your old conversations, it is still learning because it remembers everything you've spoken about. So this is what I've done inside my ChatGPT. You can actually hover over your conversation and click on that pen icon and name that conversation. तो अगर एक conversation में आपने act as a B2B marketer बोला है, तो आप उसको rename कर दो as marketer. हो सकता है एक आपका content writing का है, तो you rename it as a content writer. Whatever it is, make sure that you define your personas, you rename your conversation, and you revisit that chat again and again because as you revisit, it will keep becoming better and better. अब इस पूरे concept को बोलते हैं ChatGPT agent बनाना. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just a name that they've given. Technically, it is just you revisiting your conversations, and because you have named those conversations, you have more reference. जैसे हमारे iPhones में applications होती है, ChatGPT में plugins है. Because by default ChatGPT बहुत limited चीजें कर पाता है, but जैसे आप iPhone के अंदर app डालो तो you add more features. Similarly, these guys have launched plugins. अब plugins को install करने के लिए, if you have the plus plan, on the bottom left you click on settings. Settings पे click करके आपका एक modal खुलेगा जहाँ पे beta features करके एक tab है. When you click on beta features, you will have 3 toggles. ये तीनों features अभी beta stage में है, but they are very powerful. तो सबसे पहले आप custom instructions on करना, मैं आपको बताऊंगा ये क्या है. And you have to make sure that your plugins toggle is on. Code interpreter भी अभी हम cover करेंगे. Once you switch on your plugins का toggle, जब आप ऊपर अपने मेन्यू पे ChatGPT 4 पे hover करोगे, तो ऐसा एक मेन्यू खुल जाएगा. तो अगर आपने plugins on नहीं करे, तो हमेशा default ChatGPT 4 चलेगा, which is the basic version. So once you select plugins, this is how the plugin store looks like. So basically यहाँ पे क्या किया, they are free plugins, इसके आपको पैसे देने की जरूरत नहीं है. Once you have the pro plan, you can always install any of these. But अभी जितना मैं इसको practically use कर रहा हूँ, I've realized that some of these plugins crash. But I'm pretty sure that by December they will become very very stable. But you can always try them out. अब इन plugins के uses क्या है? अगर आपको कोई PDF पढ़ना है, कोई YouTube वीडियो का summary निकालना है, अगर आपको कोई बहुत लंबी edit करनी है या PDF files merge करनी है, then they have specific plugins for specific features, and we don't have to cover the details of it, but you can always read the descriptions. And of course, all of this information is available on the internet, so you don't need me to handhold you. तो ये हो गया हमारा plugins वाला part. Next, we have the code interpreter. अब code interpreter की जरूरत क्या पड़ी? एंड इवन व्हेन आई डू बिजनेस कंसल्टिंग, मुझको बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि यार हमारा ना डेटा में बहुत काम है. We have Excel sheets, we have numbers, we have sales numbers, we have data to work on. How do we use ChatGPT to work on that? Code Interpreter lets you download CSV files and also upload them back inside ChatGPT. तो आपको ChatGPT से कोई भी रिजल्ट मिला, आप उसको बोल सकते हो कि इसका एक एक्सेल बना दे, और आप अपनी कंपनी का डेटा एक्सेल में डाउनलोड कर सकते हो, उस एक्सेल फाइल को वापस ChatGPT में डाल सकते हो, and then ask ChatGPT to work on it. I'll show you how it works. I went to my YouTube studio और मैंने अपने YouTube studio से सारा डेटा Excel में डाउनलोड कर लिया. I have zero clue about Excel by the way. तो मुझे जो भी YouTube studio ने दिया मैंने डाउनलोड कर लिया. I uploaded inside ChatGPT and then I started asking questions to ChatGPT. अब प्लीज नोट, ये तभी काम करेगा जब आपने कोड इंटरप्रेटर वाला फीचर ऑन किया हुआ है. When you have the pro plan and you've toggled code interpreter and वो जो screen at top पे you click on ChatGPT 4 and you select code interpreter. You'll have a plus icon, you upload your PDF and then you can ask questions and ChatGPT internally सारे graphs generate करके आपको दे देगा. And then this is the last feature that we will cover, just like a quick revision, which is the custom instructions. अब मैं आपको बताता हूँ इसका use क्या है. मैं regularly UX design और marketing के prompts डालता हूँ. And at some point I get very annoyed क्योंकि मुझे हर नए conversation में यही बोलना पड़ता है, act as a B2B marketer, act as a UX designer, keep your answers short, avoid marketing buzzwords. Basically कुछ ऐसी चीजें हैं जो मुझे पता है कि ChatGPT को हर conversation में पता होनी चाहिए. तो अब ChatGPT आपको बोलता है कि यार before you talk to me, just give me context about what you do. So what you can do is, once you go to your settings tab, ऊपर आपको custom instructions का option दिखेगा. When you click on this, it has two input fields. सबसे पहले वो पूछेगा what would you like ChatGPT to know about you. तो इसमें आप लिख सकते हो मैं दिल्ली में रहता हूँ, this is what I do, these are the kind of tasks that I work on, what subjects can you talk about for hours, what are some goals that you have. तो आप बोल सकते हो कि यार मैं एक स्टूडेंट हूँ and I am using ChatGPT to maybe make more money or get a better job, so that you don't have to define this context again and again. The second input is how would you like ChatGPT to respond. For example, I don't like to read big text. So यहाँ पे आप लिख सकते हो कि keep your answers to the point. Avoid marketing buzzwords. Don't use complicated words. In fact, अगर आप हिंदी में comfortable हो, आप बोल सकते हो just write in English or write in Hindi as well. जो भी आपको ChatGPT को अपने output के बारे में सिखाना है, you can specify all those tiny things so that you save time when you're prompting. So you don't have to re-establish the context again and again. Folks, revision complete हो गई है. We've just launched a website called howtoprompt.in जहाँ पे मैंने ये सारी चीजें in detail सिखाई हुई है. These were all the basics because I went through the survey and मुझे realize हुआ कि survey में काफी लोगों को ये सब चीजें आती है. अभी ऐसे कौन से लोग हैं जिन्होंने custom instructions और code interpreter नहीं use करा है? Can you raise your hands? Right, so please go back home and Google this. मैं इसलिए नहीं सिखा रहा because you don't need me for this. Everything is available on my YouTube channel. If you go to this URL, you will be able to find detailed videos. So folks, आगे बढ़ने से पहले एक बहुत important reminder that this is not here to replace humans. It is here to help humans deliver better work. There's a huge difference. दो cases होने वाले हैं अब. Case number 1, you deliver the same amount of work in lesser time. Case number 2, you deliver high quality of work to more number of people in the same amount of time. Other tools are also catching up with multilingual sets, by the way. This is very interesting because for a long time, जितने भी ये text to speech, text to image tools थे, ये सब हिंदी नहीं recognize करते थे, right? Hindi was a language which is very widely used, but a lot of these tools never supported it. So 11 Labs करके एक tool है. अगर आप लोगों ने हमारे promos भी देखे होंगे तो एक voice over था ना, एक whispering voice over.
While everyone is telling you what AI can do, let us teach you what AI cannot do.
That was generated by 11 Labs. It was AI generated, right? And it was pretty insane, by the way, because I purposely used whisper wala template because when somebody whispers, you pay more attention. Because if I'm speaking very, very loudly, you might listen to me, but if I whisper something into your ears, they will be like, kya bol raha hai? So it's a very good hack, and now 11 Labs is coming up with inbuilt Hindi models as well. So you will see a lot of Hindi voiceovers in the market, specifically for trailers. So yes, platforms with high data are designing niche-based solutions. Now what do I mean by that? अभी तो सबने बस ChatGPT और Midjourney देखा है, but अब of course सारे startups को ये realize हुआ कि यार we should target very, very small problems and use AI for that, and that is where our customer retention and loyalty will increase. So of course Google and YouTube तो हमेशा top पे ही थे, YouTube is coming up with a feature when users can hum to identify songs. Imagine how useful this is. I always wished if Shazam could do that. Because sometimes I just have a hum. I don't remember the lyrics. I can't remember कि मैं song कहाँ से play करूँ. But this is where the platforms are going deep. Because AI can help you solve these small problems. And I'm telling you, these tech apps are going to kill it. Because they are on the forefront of these small things. So chalo, boring बातें complete हो गई. Module 1 is over. Let's start with module number 2. जहाँ पे थोड़ा सा advanced सीखते हैं. थोड़े से interesting cases समझते हैं. तो हमने कोड इंटरप्रेटर की बात करी जहाँ पे हमने बोला कि आप एक्सेल शीट्स डाउनलोड कर सकते हो और अपलोड कर सकते हो. There's one more feature that I have personally started to use and that is for writing documents. मतलब मैं एक pre-existing document को कोड इंटरप्रेटर में डालूंगा and then ChatGPT will enter my document, write content for me and then give me the final file. Have you guys tried this? Is there anybody who's tried this before? Very cool. I'm impressed. You've been on LinkedIn then. This was very popular on LinkedIn. How many of you have used Google Docs AI, by the way? Google Docs AI, anybody? Okay, so basically, you know the Google Suite, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Docs, they are also coming up with inbuilt AI tools. So abhi kya ho raha hai? They are sending emails to ask people ki kaun isme interested ho. Okay, so I said yes to that. And I'll tell you how it works. I entered Google Doc and usne mere cursor pe hi bol diya, help me write. Which is great user experience, by the way. You don't have to click to a button. It actually hovers over your cursor. I said, yeah, of course. And मैंने उसको एक prompt दिया. मैंने उसको बोला कि give me some UX psychology mental models. Because it's just more particular. And उसने मुझे mental models in 10-15 seconds दे दिए. अब now this is very brief. I can always go inside refine and change the tonality, say expand more. But मैंने बोला चलो यही तक use करके रखते हैं. मैंने ये document save कर लिया. Oh yeah, by the way, if you click on refine, these are the settings that you have and you can always go back home and try these things. It's actually way more powerful than I thought. So yeah, I created a quick document and this document is very superficial. You can see from the definitions कि एक sentence को उसने definition दिया है. अब मैंने क्या करा? I went to download and I downloaded a doc file. Okay, went inside ChatGPT, opened code interpreter, uploaded the file, said can you read this doc? It said of course I can, and then it started reading the entire Word document. Now this is where the fun part begins. मैंने उसको बोला in this document write a paragraph explaining how each UX mental model is practically used. So then what it is now doing is it is going to the internet, it is using its own brain, it is coming up with explanation for each and every UX model, writing it inside the Word document and then giving me a link to download that updated document. Now, ये जो मैंने आपको use case दिखाया है, this is pretty simple, but I'm saying what if you can do this for your agreements, offer letters, HR documents, onboarding documents, event proposals, event invites, anything. एक document डाला, उसको फिर एक और Excel sheet दी कि ये नाम है, ये email address है, ये इनका घर है, ये इनका purpose है. Create 50 Word documents using information that I've given you in this directory. तो आपने एक template दे दिया, फिर एक Excel sheet दे दी with names and emails and numbers and it will create all those documents for you. All inside ChatGPT. Because now it has access to your files. It can write inside of them. Which is crazy if you think about it. So, इसमें 2-3 downsides ये है कि जो भी bold letters है उसमें वो double asterisk डाल देता है. Because ये बहुत common lingo है जो Slack भी use करता है कि अगर आप Slack से भी कोई bold text copy करोगे ना तो 2 star आ जाएंगे. So, it's not completely perfect. But it's a very good starting point and it is just getting started. आधे लोगों को तो पता ही नहीं होगा कि अभी तक ये documents लिख सकता है. Now, you need to set agents that have really strong systems. अब मैं आपको बता दूं इसका मतलब क्या है. अभी तक क्या हो रहा है कि लोग linear prompts देते हैं. मैंने अभी भी आपको जितने भी examples दिए उसमें एक linear task था कि यार मुझे ये चाहिए, ये मेरे constraints है, ये मेरे expectations है और मैं अभी तक syllabus यही तक रखता था. But I feel कि because यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा लोगों को experience है, we can take this topic. आपने अपने एजेंट्स बनाए और हर एक एजेंट में मेक श्योर करा कि जो आप प्रॉम्प्ट डाल रहे हो उसमें एक फ्रेमवर्क है एंड एक एबिलिटी है टू आस्क फॉलो अप क्वेश्चंस. अब इसका मतलब क्या है मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ. लेट्स जस्ट से दैट आई वांट टू क्रिएट लिंक्डइन कंटेंट बिकॉज राइट नाउ फॉर यू एज अ स्टूडेंट you need to document your journey on LinkedIn. If you're not visible on LinkedIn, you will not get a good job. And that is the truth. Nobody cares कि आपकी Figma files कैसी अच्छी दिखती है until unless you're visible on the internet. So the question is कि how do I post content on LinkedIn? तो LinkedIn पे ना 2 तरीके का content होता है. एक होता है creation, दूसरा होता है curation. Creation मतलब कि आपने अपनी कोई case study बनाई और अब आपने LinkedIn पे सबको बताया कि मैंने ये काम किया है. दूसरा होता है curation कि आपको बाकी लोगों का काम अच्छा लग रहा है and then you're just saying कि top 5 portfolios from this month. और top 5 marketing websites. or top 5 marketing techniques that this brand uses. So you're a curator, and even curation gets a lot of engagement. But अब मैंने सोचा कि यार let's take this to the next level. मैं बहुत LinkedIn use करता हूँ, and I have 2-3 friends who are like LinkedIn coaches, by the way, and they are minting money from this. So I took their workbooks. They had created some LinkedIn posts that teach how to write LinkedIn posts. So I took some frameworks, and मुझे realize हुआ कि there are 3 types of ideas that you can generate. और अब मैं ChatGPT को सिखा रहा हूँ कि LinkedIn पे क्या काम करता है. Note, मैं ChatGPT को जाके ये नहीं बोलता कि give me LinkedIn post ideas or give me content for a LinkedIn. नहीं, पहले मैं उसको educate कर रहा हूँ from frameworks that a human being has written, that have been tried and tested. तो सबसे पहले ऐसे act as a super creative and powerful LinkedIn content machine. Let me tell you how you work. There are 3 types of ideas that you can generate: actionable, analytical, and aspirational. Then for specific categories, मैंने उसको subtopics भी दे दिए. That for actionable, which begins with here is how, you can share legit tips, top tools, best hacks, valuable frameworks. तो उसके बाद for analytical, you can talk about logical reasonings, real life examples, product breakdowns. Similarly, aspirational के लिए you can talk about life lessons, common mistakes, advice to passers, and if you've been active on LinkedIn, you know this is how the game works. Majorly यही category के posts है जो actually में engagement लाते हैं. As soon as I did this, I say कि anytime I say new post, you will ask me who is my target audience, and you will ask me what my audience wants. अब मैं बहुत deeper level पे जा रहा हूँ to set my reader का persona, because जब उसको पता होगा ये post पढ़ने कौन वाला है, it will write that post according to the reader's expectation. Each idea should be from 3 types I shared before. For each, give me a clickbaity headline along with a subtext that briefly explains the idea, वरना मुझे नहीं पता चलेगा idea है क्या. Do you understand? Of course it said yes. मैंने उसको बोला my target audience are students interested in learning both UX design and AI and how AI interfaces can be designed. ये बहुत question आया था मुझे, that's why I've put it. Desired outcome is to get some kind of direction or career advice to help them get a better job. अब मैंने आइडिया थ्रो कर दिया, उस पे पहला फ्रेमवर्क बना हुआ है. इट गिव मी एक्शनेबल का आइडिया, इट गिव मी एनालिटिकल का आइडिया, इट ऑल्सो गिव मी एस्पिरेशनल का आइडिया. अब मैंने उसको बोला था मुझे सिर्फ एक आइडिया देना पर कैटेगरी. आई कैन ऑल्सो से मुझे 3 दे देना, 10 दे देना, 30 दे देना. अब क्या मैं इस आइडिया को ब्लाइंडली यूज कर सकता हूँ? मे बी नॉट, बट इज दिस अ गुड हेड स्टार्ट? 100%. सो फोक्स एक क्विक रिविजन करते हैं ऑफ मॉड्यूल 2. सबसे पहले वी mentioned the fact that now ChatGPT has gone beyond basic text and now it can actually edit documents and CSV sheets with a code interpreter. Then we had personas inside ChatGPT कि अपना persona को जितना creatively define करोगे उतना आपके लिए better होगा. And you can always use custom instructions for the same. And at the very end, make sure that you set up systems inside your ChatGPT. Work on your custom instructions. Work with your plugins. Build agents that can think. But अब ये तो सारे conclusions हो गए. Let me give you some call to actions for each of these 3 points. सबसे पहले, when you go back home, try to use this plugin called Web Pilot. It allows you to access the internet. So use the Web Pilot and figure out if you can create a document inside Code Interpreter. Try to create an Excel sheet inside Code Interpreter. For second, build a mentor persona for your upskilling, whether it's for interaction design, UI design, आपने जो भी सीखना है, you build a mentor for it. And build a proper system जहाँ पे वो mentor भी आपसे cross questioning कर पाए. And at the very end, set up an idea generator for your UX case studies. मैंने आपको LinkedIn वाला बताया. Similarly, find a framework for UX case studies, educate your ChatGPT about it, and try these 3 things once you're back home. So let's start with module number 3. Break से पहले, this is the last module. कि how do you plan your next career move? अब मेरे हिसाब से ये सबसे important module है, क्योंकि अभी तक आपने जितना भी कुछ सीखा, अगर आपने ये module नहीं समझा, तो you won't be able to actually get good results. तो थोड़े से fictional personas लेते हैं. Persona number 1 is Dhruv. Dhruv is a guy who ignores AI, saying he is just a gimmick. AI मेरे से ज़्यादा smart नहीं हो सकता, मैं तो 10 साल से PhD कर रहा हूँ, मेरे से ज़्यादा मेहनत कोई नहीं कर सकता, it is just a fad. But he spends a lot of time to upskill himself. मतलब he's all the time improving what he does. He's become a specialist at what he does. This is persona number 1. Persona number 2 is Arjun. Arjun ignores upskilling. Realizes कि AI से तो सब मालामाल होने वाले हैं, अब मुझे क्या ही मेहनत करने की ज़रूरत. तो मैं काम करता हूँ, दुनिया भर के प्रॉम्प्ट सीख लेता हूँ, दुनिया भर के AI टूल सीख लेता हूँ, सब्जेक्ट की डेप्थ में कौन जाए. So he is spending a lot of time learning AI, but he ignores upskilling. Now, persona number 3 is the smartest. Meet Natasha. नताशा को रियलाइज हो गया कि बिना डेप्थ के मैं प्रॉम्प्ट दे नहीं पाऊंगी, और अगर सिर्फ मेहनत करती रही विदाउट एआई तो मेरे पास लेवरेज नहीं रहेगी. तो शी इज बैलेंसिंग बोथ. शी इज नॉट ब्लाइंडली रिलाइंग ऑन एआई टूल्स, बट शी इज ऑल्सो मेकिंग श्योर दैट शी इज अप टू डेट. नाउ फोक्स, अब आप खुद सोचो इन तीनों में से किसके बचने के ज्यादा चांसेस है? 100% नताशा. 100%. बिकॉज ये जो पहले दो है ये अपनी ही दुनिया में गायब है, ये रियलिटी में है ही नहीं. एक सोच रहा है एआई सब कुछ है, एक सोच रहा है मैं ही सब कुछ हूं. बट जो पर्सन अपने अंदर से बाहर, अपनी ईगो से बाहर निकल के रियलिटी समझेगा, only that person will have maximum leverage. So please make sure that prompt engineering alone will never be enough. And that's a very important point. So professionals who know their subject well will always have higher leverage with AI. And not just कि मुझे कुछ आता नहीं है, I'll just put a prompt, I'll just copy paste some prompts. And to show this example, let's just have a very interesting use case. Let's just say that you want to use ChatGPT for marketing ideas, because I know that some of you folks are from the marketing background. अब जिस पर्सन को मार्केटिंग का कुछ नहीं आता, लेट्स से एक फाइनेंस का पर्सन अपना स्टार्टअप खोल रहा है एंड रियलाइज करता है कि मुझे तो मार्केटिंग में किसी को हायर करने की जरूरत नहीं, क्योंकि ChatGPT सब कुछ कर लेगा. वो पर्सन जाएगा और मेरी 4 स्टेप चेकलिस्ट उठा के समझेगा कि वो मार्केटिंग कर सकता है, कि अंश ने तो बोला था बहुत अच्छे रिजल्ट आते हैं, मैं ये चेकलिस्ट यूज करूंगा सब कुछ ईजिली हो जाएगा. दैट इज स्टुपिडिटी. एन एक्सपीरियंस मार्केटिंग प्रोफेशनल will blend her own human intelligence with the frameworks that we have just learned. And I'll tell you a quick example. थोड़ा सा एक क्रैश कोर्स करते हैं मार्केटिंग का. तो मार्केटिंग में ना फोक्स 4 मेजर बकेट्स होती है. सबसे पहले यू आर बिल्डिंग अवेयरनेस, कि आपने एक नया प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च करा है, देन यू आर एजुकेटिंग पीपल अबाउट व्हाट इज इट दैट यू डू. सेकेंड कैटेगरी आती है वार्मिंग लीड्स. जैसे आपने मॉल में एक पोस्टर लगाया या एक स्टॉल खरीदा, तो वहां पे आप लीड्स को वार्म कर रहे हो, आप स्ट्रेंजर्स को इंटरेस्टेड कर रहे हो इन योर ओन ऑफरिंग. थर्ड कैटेगरी इज कन्वर्टिंग लीड्स, की एक बार आपने किसी को अपने प्रोडक्ट के बारे में बता दिया तो आप उनको बोलो कि खरीद लो. एंड द लास्ट कैटेगरी इज कि जो आपके कस्टमर्स ऑलरेडी है वो बार बार आपके पास आए. मेक सेंस? मेजरली मार्केटिंग फॉल्स इनटू दीस 4 कैटेगरीज. अब जिस पर्सन ने मार्केटिंग पढ़ी हो कि उसमें इतनी अकल है, बट जिस पर्सन ने नहीं पढ़ी उसको कोई आइडिया नहीं. इवन विद इन अवेयरनेस you can generate campaign ideas, rebranding, blah, 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 whatever it is. Now, this new person would officially put out frameworks for each and every bucket. ऐसे नहीं कि give me a marketing plan to make my product successful. नहीं. One agent for awareness, one agent for campaign, one agent for a new brand and stuff like that. So, आप समझे कि without domain knowledge, you can't build systems. You can't use AI to its maximum potential. So, use experience plus prompt checklist to brainstorm with ChatGPT. Completion का मतलब है जो आपका आउटपुट आता है. मैंने वर्ड जबरदस्ती इसलिए डाला है क्योंकि जो ChatGPT का आउटपुट है उसका टेक्निकल वर्ड इज completion, because actually ChatGPT is a very smart auto correct tool. So it's just a word that you want to learn. And very soon, folks, all AI tools are going to have built-in prompt improving suggestions. अब मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि तुम कोर्सेज बेचो, सारा टाइम लगा दो prompt सीखने में. Why can't I automate prompt engineering? I just gave you a checklist, right? And I just told you that if you can put something into a checklist, you can automate it. So why can't prompt engineering be automated? Of course it will be automated. ChatGPT के अंदर ही आ जाएंगे ऐसे plugins जो बोलेंगे ऐसे मत prompt लिखो, ऐसे लिखो. Midjourney के अंदर ही आ जाएंगे कि ऐसे मत लिखो, ऐसे लिखो. फिर क्या करोगे? So you need to be very aware कि यार skills ही काम आएगी, experience ही काम आएगा, कि prompt engineering भी automate हो जाएगा. In fact, a lot of platforms are going to have built-in AI checkers. ये जितने भी लोग कह रहे हैं ना AI से content बना लेंगे, AI से ही captions लिखवा लेंगे. Do you really think it's that difficult to recognize AI-generated text? Colleges are already doing it. Google is already doing it. जब Instagram blue tick से celebrity दिखा सकता है, तो एक red tick से AI content नहीं दिखा सकता. जब Twitter ये बोल सकता है कि reliable नहीं है, तो क्या वो ये नहीं बता सकता कि ये tweet AI ने लिखा है या human ने? Of course बता सकता है. तो 3 चीजें होने वाली है मेरे हिसाब से. स्टेप नंबर 1, जितने भी ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म्स है, इमेजेस को या टेक्स्ट के, वो अपना कंटेंट गेट कर देंगे जिससे एआई अब उन पे ट्रेन ही ना हो पाए. तो पहले तो तुमने एआई के ही हाथ बांध दिए. स्टेप नंबर 2, प्रॉम्प्ट इंजीनियरिंग ही ऑटोमेट हो जाएगी. तो हम जितनी भी कहानी कर रहे हैं कि प्रॉम्प्ट लिखना सीखो, भैया वो तो खुद ही एक चेकलिस्ट है. तो एंड में क्या वैल्यूबल हुआ? आइडिएशन. जिसके बारे में हम पिछले 6 महीने से बात कर रहे हैं. I'm not sure how many of you have been watching my videos, but I've been doubling down on ideation, your ability to come up with solutions and not execution. Because prompt engineering is an execution वाला task. But thinking की क्या prompt करना है, thinking की क्या structure होंगे, that is creativity. So at the very end, it all comes down to how good you are at your subject, how good you are with your own thinking. And at that time, prompt engineers won't be paid for just following a checklist, but they will be paid for solving problems. So I think this is pretty clear. We've covered this as well. And folks, if you've not seen any of my videos, yeah, take a seat, folks. Take a seat. If you haven't seen this video right here, ChatGPT 4 best prompts, I will recommend you to go back to it. इसके अंदर मैंने 2-3 prompts share करे थे और आखिरी में मैंने एक prompt share करा था, which was actually a prompt generating robot. And I'll show you how that prompt looked. मैंने ChatGPT में यही डाल दिया कि you are a mighty prompt generating robot. And I will give you an average prompt. And you engineer that prompt for me. अब तो कहानी खत्म. अब क्या बचा इसके बाद? तो ये तो मैं अभी मैन्युअली कर रहा हूँ. I'm saying who is stopping somebody to make a plugin out of it? Very easily. हो जाएगा. So we've already shared so many resources for getting prompts का list and use cases. इसलिए मैंने आज department wise use cases cover नहीं करे. I wanted to make sure that I cover things that are absolutely not on the internet. But LinkedIn पे एक page है जहाँ से मैं regularly prompts उठाता हूँ. It's called ChatGPT Central. I don't know who owns it. But these guys share really good PDFs and prompt use cases. If you ever want inspiration, you can always go to them. So folks, module 3 का quick revision करते हैं. हमने सबसे पहले समझा कि you need to balance upskilling and AI prompting. And then you need hands-on knowledge first. Please be an expert in your domain without AI, so that when AI comes into the picture, you have maximum leverage. And at the very end, use AI to upskill yourself first and then outsource your efforts. ऐसे नहीं कि directly outsource कर दिया. So what would be your call to action? सबसे पहले spend time browsing niche specific prompts. कि UX case studies के लिए क्या prompts है, या marketing के लिए क्या prompts है, आपके domain specific जितने भी हमने resources अपने YouTube channel पर डाली है. Your second call to action would be spend majority of your time becoming very good at what you do. Don't spend majority of your time learning prompt engineering. Please spend all your time using ChatGPT to guide you कि मुझे इस domain में क्या सीखना चाहिए, and you learn it yourself. तो जो mentorship का gap था वो हट गया, awareness का gap था वो हट गया. आपको ये सब कुछ बता देगा कि आपने क्या सीखना और कहाँ से सीखना है. And then implement, because in the end only your skills will help you. And at the very end, set up an agent that acts as your career coach. उसको बोलो कि मैंने डिसाइड करे कि अगले 30 दिन में मुझे बहुत बढ़िया UI डिजाइनर बनना है, ये मेरा सिलेबस है, मैं हर रोज तुम्हारे पास आऊँगा, तुम मुझसे क्वेश्चन पूछना एंड चेक कि मैंने पढ़ा भी है या नहीं पढ़ा है. सो यस, नाउ लेट्स टेक अ छोटा सा ब्रेक. क्वेश्चन हम बाद में करेंगे. 15 मिनट्स का हम एक ब्रेक लेते हैं. आसपास अपने लोगों से बातें करो. यू कैन ऑलवेज वॉक आउट, हैव सम फन, एंड फॉक्स आई विल सी यू इन 15 मिनट्स. थैंक यू.
The link to download this presentation will be in the description, but there's a password for it, and this is the password. Please make sure that you copy this password before you download the presentation. You will find all the relevant resources and the link to download the PDF in description. If you're here for the first time, make sure you click on subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update. Let me know in the comments section if there's something specific you want me to cover in the next video. We make content on design, AI and technology to help you upskill for free. I hope that you're taking care of your mind and body. This is your host Ansh Mehra signing out. If you like this video, make sure you click on like and hit the subscribe button. I regularly upload videos on UX design, marketing and storytelling.